I'd be good. Good. Did you play today?
No, didn't. Yeah.
Good. Gate on, gate in and out.
Yep.
Good afternoon. Welcome again to the 119th U.S. Open Championship. It is my pleasure to welcome this afternoon 9-time USGA champion Tiger Woods. Among those 9 USGA championships are the 3 U.S. Opens, 2008, 2002, and of course here in 2000, a 15-stroke victory that we all, still continue to marvel at. Tiger, can you talk a little bit about, certainly that win, and but also coming back to Pebble Beach this week and your 3rd U.S. Open here?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's been 19 years. I still remember most of the shots I hit that week. It was just one of those weeks where I don't know how I pulled it off, but on Seaside Poana, I never missed a putt inside 10 feet for a week. Well, I did the same thing at Torrey too. So, so I've putted on, Poa greens, well, and I grew up on it. And that week just happened to be a very special week. I made everything, and not only that, I was hitting it well, and when I did miss it, I missed it in all the correct spots, and so I had the best angles. And again, to be able to putt on greens this steep and bumpy as they get in the afternoon, and I said not miss a putt at under 10 feet was saying something.
And can you talk a little bit about your preparations coming into this week and just generally how you're feeling coming into the 2019
Yeah,
US
I'm
Open?
looking forward to it. It's been a while since we played the U.S. Open here, and there's nothing like playing a U.S. Open setup here at Pebble Beach. I mean, the golf course is not overly long. It's not, big in that regard, but man, it's tricky. The greens are all slanted, very small targets, and if they ever firm up, then we have a totally different ballgame.
Great. Thanks so much. We'll open it right to questions. We have ones on the left-hand side. Steve first.
Quick ones. Why did you decide not to play today?
Just a rest day. I did the same thing at Augusta, and just trying to save my energy. It's more important for me to feel energized than it is to go out there and get wear and tear.
And were you
Yeah. No, it was kind of ironic that he said he called 14. But I'm very happy that I proved him wrong.
Question right in front. Art?
Growing up in Southern California, you're obviously familiar with Pebble, just legend. When's the first time you played it, and what was your reaction after hearing about it?
Oh, the first time I ever played it, I played with Pops, and hard to believe that it was under $100 to play. And so my dad made a vow that he would never, ever play a round of golf if he had to pay for $100 or more. So luckily it was still under $100 then, and we got a chance to play Pebble Beach. I didn't hit it very far. I must have been, 9 or 10. So it was a long, soft, wet golf course to me. But it was cool to see that this is the same thing we watch every year, in February. See where the pros play. And it was always cool for me to go down to Torrey Pines where they play the Andy Williams or LA, play LA Open. For me to go to tour sites, and play the tour sites, and that's always a pretty neat thrill as an amateur.
2 questions on the left. Right here.
A lot of reminiscing this week. Even though it's been so long, is there anything you can take?
Yeah, I mean, I as I was alluding to earlier in my opening statement, that I missed the ball in the correct spots. The only real trouble I had, I just happened to catch Augusta win and end up making a debacle at number 3 on my 3rd round. But other than that, you look at all my angles, I hit the ball. I did not hit every green. I did not hit every fairway, but always had the proper angle, and gave me the best chance to get up and down. And I poured everything in. So, hopefully I can have one of those weeks on the greens again.
Another question right next to him.
Tiger, as you know, 40th anniversary of Payne Stewart's win at Pinehurst, and I wonder what your memories are of him as a player in person.
Yeah, Payne was one of my mentors when I first came out on tour. We were always usually on the other side of the locker from one another. And, you know, Payne, we always had these running needles that we used to give one another, and so we'd always mess with one another's shoes. And so whoever had the late time better bring an extra pair of shoes. And so we enjoyed doing that for my couple of years on tour. He hazed me pretty good at what was it, at Brookline and a few other tournaments that we were all together as a team. And, you know, that's what made it fun. You know, he was fun to be around. He was one of the jokesters. And as hard as he gave the needle, he could take it. And that's what made it always fun.
We're going to go all the way to the far right.
Tiger, hi. Many thanks for sharing that special memories indeed. Can I ask you, given your specific history here and considering you're now managing your schedule more than ever, how does it feel to be coming back to this particular venue as the 2019 version of Tiger Woods with a chance to add to your collection of majors?
Yeah, it's not the same body that I had back in 2000. I mean, I don't think any of us have the same body we did 19 years ago. And so that is, you know, as athletically, that's one of the challenges. You know, how do you compete against kids that were born, for me, born in the 2000s? You know, they were born after I won this damn tournament. So that's what's, you know, different about, you know, as what makes this sport so unique is that you're able to cross so many different generations. You know, Andy North and I were walking up number 6 yesterday, and he said what's really cool is that he got a chance to play with Bobby Locke, Gene Sarazen, Hogan, and he is out here playing with us. And so as many generations as it crosses, golf allows us to compete for a very long time. There are guys in their 50s out here playing in this event and kids in their teens. So that's one of the beauties of this game, and I've always said, if you're around for the conversation for that long, you've done well.
Question in front, Michael.
Thank you. Tiger, if we could go back to Augusta for a minute. You finished late on Friday, and coming off the green, you looked as happy as I've ever seen you. I was just wondering if you could remember what you were thinking and feeling then.
You know, I really don't. Honestly, I don't think it was any particular thought, just that I was right there in contention.
That's what I was trying to get for. Could you already start to feel it building that early in the week after the Friday round?
Yeah, it started on Thursday when I shot 70, and that 70 could have been a lot lower. And so if I could just clean up the rounds, I'd be right there, and happened to be there, and was able to squeak it out.
And right behind Bob.
Hey, Tiger, you seem to be putting in a lot of work on the greens. You came back out for some more putting yesterday, and then I guess today as well.
Yep.
Is somebody helping you there?
Matt's taking a look at my stroke, and you know, putting on POA is very different than putting on bent, and so just try to make sure that I'm rolling the ball like I need to for POA.
Why was it so much easier for you back in the day? You know, when you won here, Torrey Pines, you grew up on it, and yet it's seemingly given you more trouble here the last couple of years.
Just, you know, it doesn't take much to get offline on POA. It gets a little bumpy. You happen to catch, you know, those little seed heads start popping up. Bent sits down, POA perks up, and good putts look like they should go in, don't go in, and then you may pull one or push one, and it happens to bounce back in the hole. The trick to putting on POA is to make sure you're always below the hole. Because if you're putting downhill, it's sometimes like a Plinko effect. I mean, you're just going to go every which way. So key is to be below the hole where you can take the low lines and try and take the bumpiness out of play.
Question in the right center. Yes.
Tiger, just curious how much you think Steve Williams can help Jason Day, a talented player like he is?
Well, Stevie's been around for a very long time. You know, well before my career, he was Raymond for all those years. They won major championships on the Champions Tour, and obviously we won a bunch of tournaments together. He's got a wealth of knowledge, and I think Jason's trying to tap into that and trying to turn his year around.
Right in the front, Ann, do you have a question?
Hey, Tiger.
Yeah.
Since a lot has changed in 19 years, can you talk a little bit about your strategy this time around?
That part really hasn't changed that much. Because of the golf ball's going further than it did, back in 2000. I'm slower than I was in 2000. Apples to oranges, I guess you could say, that I am about the same distance. And so the golf course really doesn't play that much differently for me. It's just a matter of putting the ball in the right spots. And the only really tricky thing is the USGA moving the fairway on 11 so far to the left. Usually more right, and that greenside bunker's more in play. But there are a couple holes in which we can push the ball down there and get it down there a little bit further and try and take some short irons in these things.
And directly behind Ann, Robert?
Thanks. Tiger, Bethpage, for a lot of reasons, probably wasn't your best. I don't think you were feeling great and the rest of it. But do you feel like this as a ballpark, as a golf course, is much better suited to your game right now than a place like Bethpage? And did you think that even, at the start of the year, for instance?
Well, if I feel good, then I feel like I can play any venue. It's just that when I'm stiff and not moving as well, it becomes a little bit more difficult. But now this week, we're all going to be playing from virtually the same spots, and especially if it dries out, then the longer guys will be hitting shorter club, shorter guys will be able to sneak driver down there, and so we're all playing from the same spots. Now, how do you put the ball in the correct position is the key. And these greens, we don't face greens like this, this small and this steep. And so it puts a premium on iron play because, I feel like most of the field can drive the ball in the fairways. They're plenty wide. The golf course is not overly long. But how can you put the ball in the right spot so you can have putts at it?
Question in the back on the aisle, Alan?
Tiger, we spent a lot of time writing about your pursuit of Jack's record. I'm just wondering at this point in your life and career how important that is to you.
What's important to me is that I'm back playing again. This game was taken away from me for a few years there, and I miss competing, I miss playing. And now I have an opportunity to do that again. And, and also be able to share it with my kids. They don't remember me enjoying the game of golf because all they remember is daddy on the ground in pain. And so now golf brings me so much joy, and they're able to see that. And I'm going to be able to bring smiles to their faces while I'm bringing a smile to my own.
Two questions on the right. Good. Mark?
Tiger, you kind of alluded to this a few times about how you were feeling at Bethpage. What was going on? Were you just physically sick or maybe just not as limber?
Yeah, all the above.
You had a cold or something? Or?
I was in rough shape.
Over to the left, Ian?
Hey, Tiger, I'm sure you watched what happened to Kevin Durant last night. I was just wondering if that reminded you a little bit of what you put yourself through in 2008 to win the U.S. Open, and maybe if you have any thoughts on why athletes in championship moments are willing to risk significant injury to try to pull off what you did, particularly in 2008.
It was sad. As athletes, we've all been there to that spot when you just know it, that something just went and can't move, can't do much of anything, and you can see it on his face, how solemn his face went. I mean, he knows it. When things pop, you just know. And I've been there. And I've had it to my own Achilles. I've had it to my own back. I know what it feels like. It's an awful feeling, and there's no one can help you. That's the hard part. And whether he has a procedure going forward or not, or whatever it is, his off season, what that entails, that's the hardest part about it is the off season or the rehab. I mean, that's if he popped it, then that's 6 to 9 months of rehabbing. That's what people don't see. All those long hours that really do suck. And why do we do it? Because we're competitors. As athletes, our job is to make the human body do something it was never meant to do. and to do it efficiently and better than anyone else who's doing it at the same time. Well, things sometimes go awry, and we saw it last night with Kevin.
A question on the far right in front.
On your short list of things to yet accomplish, where does the Olympic gold medal place?
Yeah, Olympic gold medal would be a hell of a feat. First, I need to qualify, and it'd be exciting if I got a chance to represent the United States in the Olympic Games. I don't know how many more times I'll get a run at it. Next time I'll be 48. No, so it's. I don't have that many chances of playing for the United States in the Olympics, so it would certainly be an honor if I was able to represent the United States.
A few questions on the far right, sir.
Tiger, the rough out here is pretty thick. Is there been a time in the last year and a half where you've said, I better not do what I once was able to do? Are there any limitations that you have in this rough?
Yeah, I do it all the time. I judge it on each lie, and how much force I can put into it, and what can I get away with it. Or even sometimes trees are in my way, and I've got to slow it down. It's putting on the brakes. It's the massive deceleration. You know, I can accelerate the club as fast as you want, but when the grass decelerates it, then it puts all that training you have to do in the gym on your core and protecting, because that is what's going to happen.
A few more questions I see on the right-hand side, on the far right aisle.
Tiger, can you please compare how good you were feeling about your game before Augusta, before Bethpage, and before now, please?
Augusta, I was right where I needed to be. I was hitting it high. I could shape it either way, and I could really hit a high hook. I felt very comfortable hitting a high hook with a sand wedge, high hook with a draw, any one of those shots. And on those greens, to be able to take some of the slope out with curve, even around the greens, to be able to spin the ball either left to right or right to left, and flatten those greens out, that was fun. I had it right where I needed to be. Bethpage, different story. I was good going into the week. Unfortunately, just didn't feel well. And this week, I feel like I'm training in the right direction. I need one more day of prep. I want to see the golf course when it's a little bit closer to game time. I don't want to. I know they're holding it back, but I just want to see how much are they going to let it go and show us how it's going to be come Thursday.
A few questions in the center. The gentleman, Jeff, right in the center with the orange shirt. Yep.
Tiger, if you were to compare the course today to 2000, would you say the rough is lower now than it was back then? Because in the videos that I've been looking at, you can't even see your shoes.
No, it depends on what spot. You know, it's right now. I would have to say that it's more clumpy than it was in 2000. In 2000, it was pretty uniform all the way through. Right now, they've got some spots where you can draw a good lie. I mean, you can get a ball to the green with no problem. And then there's spots where it's just a wedge, hack it down the fairway, and try and get up and down from the middle of the fairway. That's probably the biggest difference between uniform and clumpy between the 2 years.
I think we have 2 or 3 more questions. First on the far left, Ian.
Tiger.
Yeah.
Just going back to the previous question about Jack's record, to what extent does that figure in your mind, and has that changed at all, you know, after the dust settled on Augusta?
Well, if I keep progressing how I am physically, and how I'm getting better and better physically the last couple of years, I just need to give myself chances. You know, hypothetically, let's say I give myself 10 years, that's 40 major championships. That's a lot of majors. And now the trick is, can I keep myself healthy enough and strong enough and fast enough to endure all that, considering what my body has gone through. And that's, you know, where I need help with all my trainers and physios and workout regimes, and hopefully I can make that happen.
We have one, sir, in the green shirt. You're good? Okay. One more on the right hand. Doug?
Tiger, in your 20-plus years of contending for these things, when it got down to the back nine, how much time or how much did you study or be aware of your opponent more than the golf course in terms of what they might do right, what they might do wrong? And has that changed over the years?
Well, with the person I'm playing with, it's very easy because they're right in front of me. I can see body language. I can see how how well they're hitting it. I mean, okay, some guys may hit the ball in the fairway, they may hit the ball in the green, but they've hit 2 hollow shots. And you know over the course of time, they're going to make a mistake. Now, if you get a guy who's flushing it, then we know that sound too. And so, you know he's not going to go away. But as far as looking at the leaderboard and trying to get a feel for that, I've always tried to do that. I've always tried to understand who's up there, what hole they're on, what are the chances, what pin locations are there, what are chances of them making birdie on certain holes, what do I need to do coming up. Yeah, I'm always trying to get a real world feel for what is going on at all times.
That must have been so different, though, at Augusta, 'cause I can't recall another major you won. Were there that many possibilities over the last hour?
Yeah, there were a ton of possibilities, and and the fact that Augusta is, they do things their own way. So you would have to look at the leaderboard and hear the roars as they posted numbers, and that, normally, I'm sorry, not now, we're able to have people yell from the gallery that someone just made a bogey 2 holes in front of us because they're on their cell phones. At Augusta, that's not the case. You're waiting and listening for roars and what's going on with scoreboards, and people are putting their names up, and you hear the oohs and ahs. So that's very different from any other tournament.
Tiger, thank you so
Yep,
much for
you
joining
got it.
us
Thank
today.
you.
Really look forward to watching you this week. Wish you well.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Great to see you.